Hello and welcome back to Video Games. You are watching Action Button live on the Action Button Goblin Bunker Network located at twitch.tv/actionbutton. Tonight we have a very special event in store for you. Perhaps it's one that defies your wildest imagination. Perhaps your imagination's just a little bit too wild, even for me. I'm your MC, Hungry Harvey, reporting for duty after months of slumber. Hungry months of slumber. I've got a very special individual, a quite eloquent leather Muppet, hyper-realistic. I'm about to introduce to you, live from Action Button headquarters. Let's give him a minute, he's still getting ready. Have you felt like you've waited long enough? Or shall you wait a couple of seconds more? I have a button, I can press it. And when I do, Lord knows, I'm navigating the tiny OBS fonts with my glasses off. I think this is the right button. Hang on. And now, introducing your host, me! Can everybody hear me? I'm going to open up my Twitch app on my phone. Okay. I promised you all a very special event. I mean, in a certain regard, this is a special event. I have received many bad tweets and email messages and Twitter DMs and Facebook messages, text messages, voicemails, phone calls from people I can only generously describe as psychos in the past 6 months or so, demanding to see this video. Everybody wants to see, I want to see a guy review Cyberpunk 2077. Everybody wants to see it, right? Well, I didn't mean to. I have a, I mean, there's no video. I tried to make one. I mean, I worked on it a lot. I wrote a lot. I played the game a lot. I outlined a lot. And we filmed some stuff, and I messed around with it, and I edited it, and I just looked at it, and I thought it's okay, and I thought this is okay, and then it just... Usually these things come together. And this time it didn't, and I kept thinking I could do something, and I could make a video, I could make a review of Cyberpunk 2077. I just couldn't. I just didn't want to. And I was sick for a while, and I can't, you know, it's not an excuse. I just I mean, I don't know. I started this like Patreon and this project thinking there would, this is like something I taught myself how to do, make these videos over the last 3 years or so. I taught myself how to make these videos. I worked up a process. I figured all this stuff out, and I thought I can make videos for a living. I thought my Patreon was going to reach like $1,000, and I was going to make you like one webcam video per month, just being like, here's my review of Animal Crossing. I played it. Oh, it's funny. And Tom Nook is more like Tom Nark, and put that up for, and it's just, that number goes up and it goes up and it goes up. And sooner or later, my most dedicated haters learn how to multiply two-digit numbers against one another and tweet at me the budget of the Cyberpunk video. The Cyberpunk video is now costs over $100,000. It's like, okay, I've been getting that since the minute month 5 ended. I mean, I'm just trying and I'm just flailing. And so I've been working on the next 6 videos. I mean, they're looking pretty good. Though, I mean, if I don't really know what else to say. How's everybody? I mean, this is sort of the most humiliating moment of my life. That I wasted everybody's time like this. And it's just the more people asked, the more I was like, oh God, this is horrible that I have nothing. And toward the end, the messages and were getting so hateful and so obnoxious and so annoying that I had people just dunking on me about how long it was taking to make this thing. I'd like to make it up to you at some point in the future. If you want to cancel your Patreon pledge, go ahead. I'll be giving refunds. We'll work that out. How's everybody taking this in the chat? Is this a viral enough moment for you? So anyway, now that all the haters have left to go dunk on me on Twitter, I will say that I did spend half of the day yesterday, and I'm hand-fed breakfast by a Michelin-starred chef every morning. And then I'm hand-fed breakfast number 2 by a 2 Michelin-starred chef a few hours later. So half of the day yesterday, and between my 2 breakfasts today, I did work on a little thing for you all, a little presentation to just make up for my grievous error. It is a 10-hour and 6-minute video presentation containing more than 24,000 cuts, split into 8 sections. Filmed all this morning and yesterday. I wouldn't call it a review of Cyberpunk 2077. Because out of respect for that guy who shows up in the comments of every one of my videos to say this isn't a review, it's more like just some guy talking. With your permission, I'd like to show you the beginning of that video. Insubstantial as it is, it contains less than 6,000 cuts, and it is under an hour long. And if you'd like to see it, I can show it to you. There may be some pops and crackles in the audio because it's 4K, 60 FPS, and OBS doesn't. It's a heavy boy, and I tried to export a 1080p version, and everybody was getting too impatient in the chat while I was exporting the 1080p version, and it slowed down. It said it was going to take 12 minutes, and it said it was going to take 12 minutes to export the 1080p version. Then like 30 minutes later, it said it had like 25 minutes left. It was taking longer to export a 1080p version than it took to export the 4K version. Twitch only allows me to show these things in 1080p, 1080 60. I was going to say some more stuff about how upset everybody was at me. I'm working on like 7 videos at the same time. We're making a video game. We're making a website. I don't know. It's a lot of work. And also, I mean, past a certain point, maybe 2/5 of the time, 40% of the time, when you see somebody delaying something like this, it's perfectionism's fault. And I mean, I know my videos aren't perfect. I know to some, many, one might say, they're nonsense. Trash, even. To the point where behind my back, my best friends have begun calling me Jerry Trashcan. The last name on my birth certificate is Trashcan because that is where the doctor found me. That's not true. My mom did abandon me in the hospital, though. That's actually true. What do we got? Do you like my background? Do you like this? This is a good, you see that? It's actually blurred out on the monitor. It's not just blurred out because of the camera. I got a new camera. Has anybody complimented my new camera in the chat yet? Once I click start on this video, a couple of things are going to happen. I mean, for one thing, the video is going to start. That's one thing, obviously. The other thing is, I mean, coast to coast, I believe, I don't want to hype it up too much. Coast to coast, sea to shining sea, US of A. Canada as well, why not? A popcorn orchestra. Of minds being blown, hats popping off, hitting the ceiling. I'm going to watch this with you. And then once we reach the end of this segment number 0, I will tell you, we'll have to have a little chat after this, just a little tiny one. And your feedback will not only be valued, it will be vitally important. I will require your feedback at the conclusion of this segment. Because in no uncertain terms, you are living the Cyberpunk 2077 review right now, whether you like it or not. My dog just barked. Everybody ready? This video is the worst thing I've ever made in my life. And can't call the cops on me if you don't know where I live. So here it comes. Who's ready? I'm going to turn my microphone monitor off. There's that. I thought I turned my microphone. I turned the other microphone monitor on. Okay. I think it's this one down here. Well, everyone, muting my microphone now. You'll hear no more from me. You'll hear no more from me until the segment has concluded. I'm going mute.
Truly yearned for. Week of 2001.
Sorry, hold on. VLC is having a little bit of a problem. Everybody, hang on just a second.
Hello, and welcome back to Video Games. I'm Tim Rogers. You are watching the Action Button review of Cyberpunk 2077, a video game based on and featuring characters from a tabletop game created by Mike Pondsmith, developed by CD Projekt Red, and published physically and digitally for the Sony PlayStation 4 and Microsoft Xbox One video game consoles, and physically for Windows personal computers in a package which does not contain a game disc by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment. Published on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One by Bandai Namco in 24 European countries. Published by Spike Chunsoft for PlayStation 4 in Japan, and by CD Projekt Red themselves for Windows personal computers on the Steam and Good Old Games digital distribution platforms, only the latter of which allows aspiring consumers to give 100% of their money to CD Projekt Red Group, whose executive managerial individuals might commit generosity with it. Announced in 2012, teased in 2013, demoed in 2018, Keanu Reevesed in 2019, scheduled for release on April 16, 2020, delayed to September 17, 2020, delayed again to November 19, 2020, delayed again to December 10, 2020, sort of released on December 10th, 2020, patched on December 11th, 2020, patched again on December 20th, 2020, patched again on December 23rd, 2020, patched again on January 22nd, 2021, patched again on January 28th, 2021, patched again on February 5th, 2021, patched again on March 29th, 2021, patched again on April 14th, 2021, patched again on April 28th, 2021, patched again on June 17th, 2021, patched again. For those discourageous netrunners lacking the cerebral hardware essential to jack in for the duration of this presentation, let us begin with the bottom line. Cyberpunk 2077 gives us everything Winner of over 100 E3 2018 awards, inspirer of reversible swag jackets, spawner of tuber-bribing game chairs, executor of multiple epilepsy-centric controversies, magnet of bad discourse, 8 years in the oven doomed follow-up to a too legendary spiritual predecessor, and one of the most anticipated pieces of popular mainstream media in the history of anonymous public conversation, Cyberpunk 2077 is also a video game containing at the very least a little bit of everything anyone has ever liked about any video. Cyberpunk 2077 is every modern video game. Cyberpunk 2077 is every game we have ever wanted, all at the same time. To review Cyberpunk 2077 is to review the crystallized essence of the entire history of the video game medium as it exists in this exact moment. Kind of a shame this exact moment kind of sucks. A toddler could have seen its magnitude as early as 2013. Rockstar Games had just released Grand Theft Auto V. CD Projekt Red had just announced The Witcher 3, and I, the only person in my own acquaintance who had played The Witcher 1 and 2, remembered Grand Theft Auto 3. Grand Theft Auto 3 came out in 2001, mere days after I moved to Japan for a few months that would turn quite accidentally into 10 years. For complicated, bad reasons we can explore later, a friend in America whose legal name might have at some point been GameStop.com sent me Grand Theft Auto 3 in the mail. I played Grand Theft Auto 3 for 4 straight hours for the borderline amusement of complicatedly bored onlookers. I do not do well with orders, especially from people I don't like, though sometime during those 4 consecutive hours I, under extreme duress at age 22, performed cartoonish virtual crimes. I formulated several rich expectations about the future of the video game medium. Here I was, an adult at last, having made a decision to move a world away from where I came from, and here I was, unexpectedly to myself, having a genuine experience with a video game. I had just started to think that maybe I'd outgrown them. Now, here I am, literally half my life later. 2001's Grand Theft Auto 3 appeared to me as an event as big as 1997's Final Fantasy VII and 1996's Super Mario 64 before it. Grand Theft Auto 3 introduced to a wide range of game-aware persons the tantalizing possibility that video games might have always been the best entertainment. Obviously, anyone who'd played Final Fantasy II-4 for Super Nintendo in 1991 and/or Doom in 1993 already knew this, though even I, as a person who at that point had played Final Fantasy II, 3, 7, 8, and 9, and had played Doom and Quake and Elder Scrolls Daggerfall and Dragon Quest V and Metal Gear Solid, even I felt my mind reeling with possibilities when I first played Grand Theft Auto 3. And I'd even already played Grand Theft Auto 1 and Grand Theft Auto 2 and Grand Theft Auto London 1969. Exactly 2 weeks before I played Grand Theft Auto 3 for the first time, I'd witnessed a long thread on an internet forum about why Squaresoft should remake Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 2 with voice acting, in the style of Final Fantasy X. I'd played 0 hours of the Japanese version of Final Fantasy X at that point, and I was still loving the idea of remaking Final Fantasy VII in that exact style. 2 weeks later, I played Grand Theft Auto 3. The best idea that my 22-year-old self could come up with while playing Grand Theft Auto 3 was they should make a Blade Runner game just like this. I tell you, I rode that idea like a tricycle into every speculative conversation I had about modern single or multiplayer video games as a new adult. Over and over again, I wheeled it out. Dude, they should totally make a cyberpunk Grand Theft Auto. When Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto Vice City in 2002, I saw this as a sign. Here they'd set a game in a Miami-like metropolis of the 1980s. Clearly, they too hungered for the pleasure of pink neon-drenched streets, flashy clothes, and loud motorcycles. I Felt like I must have been the first person in the world to ever dream of a cyberpunk Grand Theft Auto. Years later, and a life chapter removed from Grand Theft Auto 3, I had Grand Theft Auto 5. I had the dream of The Witcher 3, and I had my memories of dreaming for a neon cyberpunk open-world city. CD Projekt Red had, at this point, already announced Cyberpunk 2077 1 year earlier, in 2012. They'd teased it with a nothing trailer in 2013. I first played Grand Theft Auto 5, knowing that a cyberpunk-flavored game of different genre, though similar guaranteed size, was coming practically any day now. I hadn't even played The Witcher 3 yet, though I knew that an open-world cyberpunk role-playing game by CD Projekt Red would be better than Skyrim, better than Fallout, even Fallout New Vegas, and better than Grand Theft Auto 5. In 2013, I believed earnestly that making a perfect, massive open-world cyberpunk action role-playing game could not possibly be difficult. It would entirely be a matter of work. Whole burly dump trucks full of work, though a matter of work nonetheless. If they put in the work, they'd have themselves the perfect video game for suckering exactly me into playing it until its wheels fell off. Less than 2 years later, I played a couple hours of The Witcher 3. I played enough of The Witcher 3 to know that I loved it, though I also played enough of The Witcher 3 to know I had to wait for some patches. I waited so long for those patches that eventually I found myself waiting for the money to buy a better graphics card so as to play the game properly. I dipped into The Witcher 3 again and again as 2015 turned into 2016, 2017, and 2018, starting over every time, each time getting just a little further past the Griffin than I had before. I must have played through that Witcher's first dozen side quests a baker's dozen times. For reasons I still can't articulate, because to be honest, I've never actually finished the game, I knew that The Witcher 3 was the game for me. My buddy Doug Jones had told me that The Witcher 3 was as much a masterpiece to his adult self as Final Fantasy 3-6 had been to his teenage self. Those strong words continue reverberating like a gong with restless leg syndrome inside my skull even today. The Witcher 3 was, as far as I could tell, a Zelda with just enough Skyrim to hook me, though not enough Skyrim to spit me out. It was a Red Dead Redemption-like with Lord of the Rings instead of Blood Meridian. It was a Grand Theft Auto-like, Final Fantasy-like, with a simultaneously just defamiliarized enough and just archetypal enough complex hero. It was Mass Effect, except good. And the combat was a lot better than anything in Elder Scrolls had ever been. Not that that's saying much or anything. That the people making this game that was so good, I would literally not even let myself play it because I felt quite frankly unworthy of enjoying myself that much, were making the one stupid video game idea I've had lodged in the back of my head for going on 2 decades at that point, represented a coincidence too ridiculous for reality. At the time Cyberpunk 2077 debuted as a trailer and a behind-closed-doors gameplay demo at E3 2018, I daily paychecked at a video game website. I covered Cyberpunk 2077's reveal with all the rabies required of my profession. So it was that the very thought of the game's signature shade of yellow, the very notion of its title logo styling, sent me into a game hunger frenzy. And much like my relationship with my years ago musing that a Blade Runner Grand Theft Auto would own Dude, I mistakenly felt alonely unique in my exact variety of hype. And that, as they say, is how they getcha. Originally scheduled to release in April 2020 when we needed it most, Cyberpunk 2077's developers began announcing delays. Cyberpunk 2077 eventually arrived at the end of the nightmare year of 2020, and I feel confident I do not risk controversy from either the game's fans or its haters when I say it did not fix the year. Years looking at video games either up close or from afar have trained my intuition when it comes to game release delays. When CD Projekt Red said Cyberpunk 2077 was coming out in April of 2020, I rewatched every stick of available footage and instantly knew it was a filthy lie. Yet, I remained cautiously curious. and curiously cautious. 2020 dawned. On January 14th, 2020, Square Enix announced that they had delayed the Final Fantasy VII Remake from March 3rd to April 10th. This put its release within 6 days of Cyberpunk 2077's. As a person employed in reporting on every hot new video game released at the time, this made me sweat. I knew then that I could not possibly report on both games at the same time. The editor-in-chief would clearly assign one to me and one to someone else. I'd just completed a 2 years in the making project about Final Fantasy VII. Clearly, the management would want me, the Final Fantasy VII guy, to cover the Final Fantasy VII Remake. That meant that Paul Tamayo would cover Cyberpunk 2077. I like Paul Tamayo a lot, though I also bodily needed to cover both of those games. I had worked myself to the edge of my own nerves hundreds of times in the past several hundred days. What was one more time gonna do? Kill me? Nonetheless, about video games, I nightmared. Exactly 2 days later, CD Projekt Red announced they were delaying Cyberpunk 2077 until September 17th, 2020. Clearly, they were doing this because April 16th had always been completely impossible. The abundant officially released footage of the game so cagily demonstrated the product, they'd needed to physically put horse blinders on every single viewer. They wanted to do it any cagier. Nonetheless, I amused myself with the notion that CD Projekt Red had delayed the game so as to afford me personally time to save up for and purchase a fancy new PC. They delayed the game so that I would have all the time in the world to both review the Final Fantasy VII Remake and finally finish The Witcher 3.
Thanks.
The next day, the CEO of the company that owned the website I worked for stopped me in the hall for the second time in 1 month. I was wearing sunglasses. These sunglasses. He said, "I'm digging the shades, man." He had said exactly this 3 weeks previous. Exasperated at the guy, I replied, "I have chronic migraines." To which he instantly replied, "And you look good doing it." A curious verb usage for a man employed in owning writers. I immediately devised Season 1 of Action Button reviews. I'd start with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, then review The Last of Us, then Doom, then Pac-Man, then Tokimeki Memorial, and then Cyberpunk 2077, which I estimated would release in December. I put in my 2 weeks' notice 1 hour later. Over the course of the next day, I conceived, wrote, filmed, and edited 3 videos I had termed pre-reviews. One of Cyberpunk 2077, one of Animal Crossing New Horizons, and one of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I left the office to get a haircut between filming the first and second of those videos. I was sure to, in the first video, make several overt references to how much I disliked my haircut.
I need a haircut. Don't trust a guy who needs a haircut.
I uploaded the videos, scheduled them to go public on YouTube over the next several weeks, and left the office. Days later, I began to mentally prepare myself for the Action Button Reviews project. Looking back on it, the spark had occurred with purity and simplicity.
Getting one of my good feelings.
That the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Cyberpunk 2077 represent 2 video games that I had first truly yearned for during one fateless 2-week period back in late December of 2001. A remake of Final Fantasy VII and a cyberpunk Grand Theft Auto killer role-playing game in a Blade Runner-looking future Los Angeles represent the last 2 modern video games I have ever yearned for. And I yearned for them both 20 years ago. Over the 20 years after that, for better or for worse, for reasons both interesting and boring, I continued to involve my life with video games, and on occasion I conjured expectations about one upcoming game or another, though I never quite yearned ever again. By the time I started working on video games myself, I reckon I'd stopped yearning for a remake of Final Fantasy VII or a cyberpunky Grand Theft Auto-ish Morrowind Fallout, though only as those 2 games became reality and their respective release dates repelled each other, as though with the very gravity of my ancient yearning, did my childlike wonder seep back in to my modern mind. My on-the-job impulse had been dead on. I needed to cover both of these games. More than that, I needed to review both of these games, and I needed to do so on my own terms. I needed to interrogate these two games like crime witnesses. Between them, I needed to find myself. After that, I had no idea what I would discover, and that eventual mystery is exactly what inspired me to begin this project. It pleases me to announce to you today that with the completion of my review of Cyberpunk 2077, I now know where we must go for Season 2 of Action Button Reviews. In other words, I decided at the beginning of the Action Button video game critique project that I would begin Season 1 with a review of the Final Fantasy VII Remake and end Season 1 with a review of Cyberpunk 2077. This is a technique arts critics refer to as bookending with sevens. In other words, I began my endeavor of creating PBS documentary miniseries-length video game reviews with a clear goal in mind. Before even composing the essay I later read into a microphone for the video atop of my Patreon pitch page, I had already selected all 6 games that I would review in Season 1. If I insinuated elsewise elsewhere, I only did so to keep up a spur-of-the-moment facade in the interest of appearing relatable. For 8 months, for example, I toiled usually daily on the thought formulation process that later crystallized in my review of Tokimeki Memorial. All the while, as I played the Final Fantasy VII Remake, as I reviewed The Last of Us, as I experienced Doom on a Nintendo Switch in a hotel bed, as I played Pac-Man on a Nintendo Switch in the back of a Honda SUV in New Hampshire, and as I scratched my head through a list of quite bad PC 98 games in the interest of better understanding Tokimeki Memorial, I set aside at least 1 daily hour toward preparatorily, multiple medium-spanningly researching my eventual Cyberpunk 2077 review. To better immerse my mindset in a liquid cyberpunk solution in preparation for reviewing this generational capstone of a video game, I first reread William Gibson's novels Neuromancer, Count Zero, and Mona Lisa Overdrive, and Neil Stephenson's novel Snow Crash, The Beginner Course. Then I rewatched the films Johnny Mnemonic, Strange Days, and The Matrix. I am not going to pass up even the most tangential of excuses to rewatch The Matrix. On a hotel bed in Times Square, New York, Manhattan, after rewatching the 2005 film Doom, starring Dwayne Johnson, credited as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Carl Urban, I rewatched the 2012 film Dread, also starring Carl Urban. I watched both Paul Verhoeven's 1987 film RoboCop and the 2014 film RoboCop, starring Joel Kinnaman, Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton, and Samuel L. Jackson. What a cast! You know, that movie's actually pretty good. It's okay to like that movie. On a laptop in a dark bedroom atop a mountain in a summer abandoned ski resort in New Hampshire, I rewatched Paul Verhoeven's 1990 classic film, Total Recall, and the 2012 film of the same name, starring Colin Farrell and Bryan Cranston. What a cast! You know, that movie's actually pretty good. It's okay to like that movie. At my desk on my computer monitor, because though I had purchased a television, the television stand had not arrived yet, I watched Akira and Ghost in the Shell. I even watched the 2017 Ghost in the Shell film starring Scarlett Johansson and Johnny Mnemonic co-star Beat Takeshi, credited as Takeshi Kitano. You know, that movie's actually pretty good. To refresh myself on expressions of cyberpunkism throughout video game history, I spent off moments over the past year playing as many cyberpunk or cyberpunk-adjacent video games to completion as I could. I played Shadowrun for Super Nintendo, Shadowrun for Sega Genesis, Shadowrun for Mega CD, Shadowrun for Xbox 360, and Shadowrun Returns for PC. I played Syndicate for PC, and then I played Syndicate for PC. I played Hideo Kojima's cyberpunk adventure game Snatcher for PC 88, Sega CD, and Sony PlayStation.
Dear God.
I played Deus Ex, Deus Ex Invisible War, Deus Ex Human Revolution, and Deus Ex Mankind Divided for PC. I then played Hitman 2 for PC, just for fun. Then I played Rare's Xbox 360 HD remaster of their Nintendo 64 game Perfect Dark, as housed within the Xbox One compilation Rare Replay on my Xbox Series X. Then I replayed Watch Dogs on PC. Twice! I didn't even have to play it the second time. Should have reviewed Watch Dogs. It'd be a much better video than this. As Cyberpunk 2077's troubled launch loomed, I'd have had to have been a buffoon to not have soothseen the Discorsian magnitudinous of its arrival. My action button sense tingled with capital punishmental electricity as summer opened the door for autumn, so as to better acquire a sense of critical bearings regarding Cyberpunk 2077's place as a representatively formal work of design, capstoning an era and passing the hardware generation baton from itself to itself. I saw it necessary to sample the full breadth of its exact competition. So I played through Grand Theft Auto V, The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Assassin's Creed's Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and the Demon's Souls remake. I played through the Demon's Souls remake 4 times. Should have reviewed the Demon's Souls remake. That'd have been a lot better than this. Finally, as Cyberpunk 2077's release impended from a single-digit number of days' worth of temporal distance, in the interest of recalibrating my exact critical vocabulary into better attunement with what aspirations I hypothesized Cyberpunk 2077 possessed, I replayed the first 20 hours of Red Dead Redemption 2, and then I'm 100% at Horizon Zero Dawn. When Cyberpunk 2077 at last arrived, I purchased it for PC on GOG.com, so as to assure that 100% of my money went to CD Projekt Red Group's managers, and I played through the first act of the campaign on my PC with 64 gigabytes of RAM, an AMD Ryzen 3950X, and an NVIDIA 2080 Ti. I had a generally good time doing so. After I'd already spent $60 on Cyberpunk 2077 for PC, Cyberpunk 2077 developers at CD Projekt Red generously provided me with download codes for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game, as well as 2 additional GOG codes. That's a $240 value. I gave the GOG codes to my truck heck brothers, Michael Kerman and Brent Porter, and then, while my PC was busy for literally 60 hours rendering and exporting the action button review of Tokimeki Memorial, one partial segment at a time, this guy knows what I'm talking about, I replayed the first act of Cyberpunk 2077 on the PlayStation 5 and then the Xbox Series X 2 times each. At the end of this exercise, I had played Cyberpunk 2077's first act a total of 5 times. An abbreviated simulacrum of my experience with The Witcher 3 between 2015 and today. I had a generally good time doing so, though not as generally a good time as I had had playing the game on my PC with 64 gigabytes of RAM, an AMD Ryzen 3950X, and an NVIDIA 2080 Ti. As blog posts, Twitter tweets, and viral GIFs depicting Cyberpunk 2077's myriad technical buffoonisms achieved volcano acceleration, I coincidentally built a new PC with 128 gigabytes of DDR4 4000 RAM, 3 4TB Gen 4 NVMe solid-state drives, 2 4TB SATA SSDs, an AMD Ryzen 5950X CPU, and an NVIDIA RTX 3090. I put 10 Corsair RGB fans in a Lian Li 011 Dynamic XL case and set a GIF of Tokimeki Memorial's Ayako Bingo Katagiri on the OLED screen of my NZXT Z73 Kraken all-in-one liquid cooler. Bingo! In an artist's renditional symbolism of Action Button Season 1's critical arc, I set my 10 Corsair RGB fans to slowly alternate between Final Fantasy Blue and Cyberpunk 2077 Yellow. I dialed in the maximum graphical settings in which my computer could still handle Cyberpunk 2077 at 60 frames per second at 3840 by 2160 resolution most of the time. Then, I did what I still yearn to do with The Witcher 3. I played all the way through Cyberpunk 2077, allowing myself to take all the time I needed. I spent a total of 177 hours in Night City in my first playthrough alone. I completed all of the game's side quests, and I achieved all of its endings, even the secret one. I had a generally good time doing so. Before playing Cyberpunk 2077 on my new PC, however, in order to better reacquaint myself with the aims of its mechanics, structure, and presentation, I did replay the opening 5 hours of CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 3 one more time, at 120 frames per second in 4K resolution on my 77-inch LG C10 OLED television, while sitting 3 feet away in my Steelcase gesture chair. I gotta say, that was nauseating. To counteract the nausea, and to better achieve empathy with console players of Cyberpunk 2077, I then replayed the opening 5 hours of The Witcher 3 on Nintendo Switch at 720p and sometimes 30 frames per second. I gotta say, that hurt my eyes. After my first full playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077, I reread William Gibson's Neuromancer for the third time in the past 12 months. I had hoped this exercise, re-experiencing the Spartan, poetic, occasionally brutally beautiful cyber prose, would assist me in achieving prosaic escape velocity from whatever rhetorical loquaciousness to which I currently and relentlessly aspire every time I get in front of this camera. Did it work? You tell me, and you probably tell me no. Just as a quick aside, I want to say that I read 266 books in 2019, and I read 22 books in 2020 because of these videos. So, whoever the opposite of a librarian is, you're welcome. I painstakingly spent an additional 100 hours scrubbing through my footage, like a detective scraping his snout around for clues. With probably a repugnant expression on my face, I devised the 7 sizzling cyber stories you shall witness if you dare not close the tab, and I organized the chicken-scratched notes of my 177-hour experience into a borderline coherent outline over a torturous and tortuous 12-hour workday. Before beginning to type this script, I wrote this intro last. By the way, I always write the intros last, in case that wasn't perfectly clear. I'm filming this intro after editing the whole video, a new concept. I'm a little proud of that new idea. Before beginning to type this script, I experienced a rare, lugubrious, shuddery sensation, one I had not felt since the 3rd grade. Like most rare sensations, it fleeted, though it had alighted upon me just long enough for me to tremble as I asked myself, after all this preparation, what can I say about Cyberpunk 2077 that 77 other critics haven't already said? Well, it turns out the short answer to that question is technically kind of a lot. Though in the interest of realism, I'll say, if you glance down at the length of this video, you'll see a number representing more or less how long it will take me to exhaust every permutation possible of pretty good for a game made entirely out of problems. So I asked myself, what can I say about Cyberpunk 2077 that 77 other critics had not already said? I did not have time to imagine 77 versions of myself. However, I did imagine 7. You're looking at one of them right now. The idea thus formulated, I began, at last, the script writing process. To best prepare myself to approximate the critical toolset I'd need to climb Cyberpunk 2077's Mount Everest of critiquable media 7 times, I played Flashback for the Sega Genesis. I unlocked the Spider-Man 2099 suit in Spider-Man Miles Morales. I played Phantom 2040 for the Sega Genesis. Then I rewatched the 1996 film The Phantom, starring Billy Zane. Still the best superhero movie ever made. Wow. Then I played the Konami-published, Takaratomi-developed PlayStation 2 game, Psy Girls. Then I played Acclaim's Nintendo Entertainment System port of Hewson Consultants' ZX Spectrum game, Cybernoid. I played Masaya's Assault Suits Valken because it was released in English by Konami as Cybernator. Then I played Cybernator. I played Punky Skunk, which happened to be developed by Ukiyote, who also made Skyblazer, so I played Skyblazer on my brand new analog Super NT. And you can't play Skyblazer without playing Soul Blazer, and you can't play Soul Blazer without first playing ActRaiser. You know, Soul Blazer is the kind of sequel to ActRaiser, even though they also made an ActRaiser 2. And you know what? ActRaiser 2 is pretty good. It's okay to like ActRaiser 2, even if it doesn't have a flying baby city builder mode shoehorned into it. So I played ActRaiser 2. Then I played Rocky Rodent, which is the game I always assumed Punky Skunk was. To my surprise, Rocky Rodent genuinely owns. It's by Irem, makers of R-Type, Metal Storm, Bumpy Trot and Zettai Zetsume Toshi 2, aka Raw Danger, so I played R-Type, Metal Storm, Bumpy Trot, and Zettai Zetsume Toshi 2, aka Raw Danger. In a shocking twist, Rocky Rodent's Japanese title is Nitro Punks. Thus enlightened and thinking I might have missed other glacier-huge, superficial, attitudinous elements of previously thought irrelevant games starring rodents, I booted up Awesome Possum. I wish I hadn't. I figured, while I was playing platform games starring mascot rodents, I might as well revisit Konami's Rocket Knight adventures on my brand new analog Mega SG. I even played its sequel, Sparkster, which totally sucks. For a good measure, and to finish the poisoning, I choked down Arrow the Acrobat, Arrow the Acrobat 2, and Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel. More like 0 out of 10, the Kamikaze Squirrel out of 10. I'd had enough of squirrels and other glorified rats, so I thought, you know what Genesis games are pretty good? Pulse Man, Ristar, and Socket, released in Japan as Time Dominator First. I woke up halfway through a second playthrough of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. My throat hurt a little bit, so I popped another Honey Herb Ricola lozenge. I felt lost. Hedgehogs, squirrels, bats, Awesome Possum, Rocky the Non-Denominational Rodent, Nitro Punks? Punky Skunk? Sky Blazer, Soul Blazer, Act Razor, Punk? E-Skunk? I thought. The PlayStation had some good, weird platformers, man. So on my beautiful PS1 digital and X-Station modded $800 PlayStation 1, assembled by Action Button friend Bob from Retro RGB and his expert associates, I played Chippoke Rarufu no Daibouken. I played Soukai Tenshi. I played Klonoa, Door to Phantomile. Then I played Tomba and Tomba 2, 2 games about killing pigs. Now I felt double lost. Pigs, hedgehogs, possums, Rocky Rodent, Nitro Punks, Punk E-Skunk, Cybernoid, Yo-Noid, Cybernator? Halfway through Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Arnold Schwarzenegger asked John Connor, why? For the third time in one dialogue, and I snapped to my senses with a senseless question.
Why?
Why? Wasn't I playing RoboCop on NES made by Data East with music by Mother 3's composer Shogo Sakai? Weeks later, I realized I had been forcing myself to forget what Cyberpunk 2077 had taught me about myself. Cyberpunk 2077 had taught me that myself really does not want to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 at all. So I imagined 7 people who did. My own personal optional romance side quest with myself complete, I played through Cyberpunk 2077 one more time, under a gauntlet of various restrictions. Once I had finished that procedure, I finally felt perfectly qualified to write the review you are about to witness. It occurred to me after I finished my lengthy research and before I began writing this review that a critic cannot avoid asking themselves the question, what is my desired relationship with this work? Depending on one's mood or the stage of one's career, this essential question becomes either training wheels or a motorcycle. I harbored desire for this game long before it existed. For half my literal life, I'd wanted a Grand Theft Auto that evoked the superfists of Verhoeven's masterworks or of 2000 AD comics, preferably both at the same time. Mostly, I wanted a Grand Theft Auto 3 big game with an imagination, any imagination, though particularly Blade Runner-y imagination. I grew up willing to contortionalize myself every which direction for a whiff of that action. I got here today by sheer force of hunger to stomach any slop Cyberpunk 2077 threatened to shotgun blast down my neck cylinder. Cyberpunk 2077 has a non-linear main quest, multiple substantial side quests offering a broad sampling of genres, both mainstream and non, adding up to roughly double the length of the main quest, dozens of side quests, and hundreds of side quests. Cyberpunk 2077 has guns, it has level ups, it has critical hits, it has a minimum of 2 skill trees and 5 separate categories. It has dialogue options that make or break the possibilities of entire multi-hour side quests even occurring in the first place. It has a hacking minigame. It has cars you can buy and cars you can steal. It has a motorcycle that looks like Kaneda's from Akira. It has a whole Borderlandsian Mad Maxy Badlands area. It has skyscrapers. It has heists, shootouts. It has 3 different opening chapters depending on which life path appeals to you personally, though really what kind of narc would choose Corpo? Unless they were playing through the game 3 times for the purpose of making a review like this, and they had to. Corpo has the best opening chapter, I'm sorry. Cyberpunk 2077 has 5 endings, whose availabilities are determined by side quest line completions. 3 of those endings have 2 alternate endings determined entirely by player choice, and one of those endings features a completely different character based on a decision made at the end of one major mission midway through the game. Cyberpunk 2077 has a lot of Keanu Reeves in it. Cyberpunk 2077 also has the biggest graphics yet. Cyberpunk 2077 is drippy soaked in gross amounts of ray tracing. In short, like any good dumpster behind a GameStop, Cyberpunk 2077 features and glorifies molecules of the entire history of video games. Cyberpunk 2077 contains at least a little bit of everything good and bad about the best big modern games. Cyberpunk 2077 is good, especially if you like it. In summary, reviewing Cyberpunk 2077 allows me to review every modern video game of the past 3 console generations, and I promise uncynically, probably most future video games of the current console generation all at the same time. I knew going into this exercise that it carried a high likelihood of my coasting effortlessly onto the conclusion that I have wasted the objectively best years of my life by thinking too much and too often about video games. Did I arrive eventually at that conclusion? Buddy, if you want to know the answer to that, you're just gonna have to witness these 7 sizzling cyber stories I scribed pertaining to Cyberpunk 2077. The answer lies in one of them. However, I don't want to make it easy on you, so I brought you a twist. In a simulacrum of Cyberpunk 2077 itself, I present to you a review with branching paths. You'll find convenient chapter markings in the video description. I want you to choose only 2 of stories 1 through 6 to watch. Afterward, you must skip straight to story number 7. If you watch all of these stories in a row, you will encounter much tacky parallelism, repetition, and bloat. I have constructed it this way on purpose. If you watch all 7 of the following stories end to end, you will arrive unto my conclusions with an exhausted heart, heavy with a save scummer's immersion-breaking burden. Stop not at Target to buy a travel toothbrush on the way to the airport, my friend. They have Target where you're going. To help you choose your path, let's talk about the stories. I intended each of these first 6 stories as a full video review of Cyberpunk 2077 in itself. Therefore, I textured each of them with a different voice. I knew that before I could assess Cyberpunk 2077 as a video game, I needed to wrestle with several elephants. We cannot possibly separate Cyberpunk 2077 from the myriad usually insipid conversations that have cycloned around it ever since the day its makers filed a trademark. So in story number 1, we'll enter the context zone to perform a vain attempt to disentangle our critique of this or any work from the hurricane of public conversation. Yes, in this story, I will review Cyberpunk 2077 by addressing every last morsel of Cyberpunk 2077 discourse. I typed every word of the main stories of this script, knowing I would read them off a teleprompter in a basement studio immediately proximal to South Bend, Indiana, home of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. In order to assure my words deserved the luxury of that studio's 2 6K red Hobbit cameras, I made sure to type this script on a massive brand new Windows PC equipped with an NVIDIA RTX 3090, an AMD 5950X CPU, 10 RGB fans, an NZXT Kraken Z73 all-in-one liquid cooler, bingo! A Gigabyte Aorus Extreme X570 motherboard, 3 4 terabyte 4th generation NVMe M.2 solid state drives, 2 4 terabyte SATA solid state drives, and 128 gigabytes of DDR4 4000 RAM. I put all of that in a Lian Li 011 Dynamic XL case that conveniently has the first 3 letters of my last name engraved on it. I typed my script on a Philco Majest Touch 2 Ninja mechanical keyboard into Sublime Text 3, which thanks to the support of my Patreon backers, I have finally paid for. In other words, yes. In story number 2, we're going to review Cyberpunk 2077 as the game with them graphics. At this point, perhaps more than one exasperated commenter has already asked me if I like the game or not. How dare you ask me that? Of course I like the game. I had a pleasant time playing it. I think it does a big catcher's mittly handful of things gorgeously well. So in the Paragon Pathly story number 3, Action Button likes Cyberpunk 2077. However, either due to discourse poisoning or some other more deeply rooted personality accident, I also come to you today with a bucket of complaints of depth, rivaling the bucket of complaints I took to my new primary care doctor the day I got health insurance. So in story number 4, bait your breath as you step into the Renegade's dungeon, wherein Action Button hates Cyberpunk 2077. By the way, story number 4 is the segment that contains the sentence, Cyberpunk 2077 is pretty good for a game made completely out of problems. I did not mean to spoil that sentence by using it earlier in this intro. Now I'll have used it 3 times. So please be excited again if you hear it in that 4th segment. Or maybe I'll cut that sentence from story number 4. In brilliant simulacrum of Cyberpunk 2077's fateful launch, I ask you to keep a vigilant eye on whether or not I cut that particular feature. In story number 5, we'll get to the point. Cyberpunk 2077 is a big game, so we've got a big point. Namely, we'll seek an answer to the question, what isn't a role-playing game? I don't even actually ask that question directly in story number 5. Story number 5 most visibly critiques open-world games. So remember what I said about what isn't a role-playing game here in the intro if you want to feel cool later. I call story number 5, Sweeter the Honey Tunnel, Vaster the Blast Waste. And in it, we will review Cyberpunk 2077 by somewhat abstractly reviewing all open-world games and Western role-playing games released since Grand Theft Auto 3. Cyberpunk 2077 actually isn't just a big game, it's an enormous game. So, in the spirit of choice, I present you 2 points. In story number 6, I attempt a deconstruction of the science fiction subgenre cyberpunk, a genre one of whose founding fathers, William Gibson, dared imagine in 1984 that in 2039, 3 megabytes would be a lot of RAM. To fully understand cyberpunk, I took it upon myself to examine many books, films, and video games from the past 4 decades of human history. In story number 6, witness me deconstruct the genre, and then deconstruct my deconstruction. If that's too vague for you, let me put it into layman's terms. In story number 6, I'll explain to you why Shake Shack is not a real New York dining experience. Shake Shack is a trash palace founded by some daddy's money-having rich boys who got lucky with an opportunity to open a location in literally Madison Square Park. And they built a reputation on comparing themselves to In-N-Out, which coincidentally is a fast food restaurant that does not cost $40 per person, no matter how hungry they are. Do you know why people in the Midwest know about In-N-Out? Because one of their friends or relatives went to California and said California was nice. Do you know why people in the Midwest know about Shake Shack? Because number 1, it's from New York. Number 2,
I heard it's better than In-N-Out.
Number 3, In-N-Out is from California. Number 4, they just opened a Shake Shack in the strip mall across the street from the Topgolf here in Indianapolis. Number 5, yeah, that's the strip mall with the Portillos. And number 6, yeah, Portillos is the hot dog place from Chicago. When I explain to you that an authentic New York dining experience does not involve air conditioning, that a real New York dining experience is a slice of pizza that you'll give 2 stars on Yelp Because while you were in line waiting 1 hour for this, a guy yelled at your wife, and you don't know why? This will ultimately bring about the final point I would like to make with this first season of Action Button Reviews. In other words, I like story number 6, and I would recommend you choose that as one of the 2 you watch. Though like I said, it's your choice. If you choose to watch all 6, that's your choice as well, you freak. I can't stop you from being a weirdo who does not follow explicit instructions, because I can't even stop myself from being the weirdo who made all of whatever this is. All I'm saying is, I do not want to hear any complaints that this video is longer than the last one. If you watch it correctly, it is not. This is a review of a video game. I designed it to give you, the player, some agency. So it makes perfect sense that it's this long. It's not weird at all, man. If anybody comments with the length of the video coldly reporting, 10 hours, no thanks, I will not delete their comments. However, I will delete any comments wherein a person points out that that person clearly didn't watch the intro. Don't help people out. Following these 6 stories, as always, is the bottom line. As this review represents the finale of Action Button Season 1, this installment's bottom line carries a hidden weight I dare not spoil in this introduction. One thing I will spoil is that unlike Cyberpunk 2077 itself, I will only trickily reference Blade Runner once in this entire review. Leave a comment if you think you caught the reference. Before we begin, I'd like to seize one last opportunity to warn you, this review will contain many spoilers for Cyberpunk 2077, both in the on-screen imagery and in my narration. I encourage you to play through the game's main campaign, the Keanu Johnny Silverhand Reeves' questline, and at least one romance side quest line before you watch any of this review. In story number 1, we'll address all the quote-unquote discourse about the game. Though I'll spoil that section for you right now. We're going to conclude the discourse is poison, and that this game is pretty good and does some extremely neat stuff narratively and structurally that you might enjoy if you go in wanting to enjoy it, and if you're playing on PC. So that's my spoiler warning. If you've seen any imagery so far in this review that made you think,
I'd play that game,
just go ahead. Forget about the discourse, play the game. And if you're watching this video like 5 years after I post it, I reckon there's a chance game's been patched over so many times you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. They might have like turned it into a game about astronauts at that point. Anyway, look at me over here. I'm literally talking about Cyberpunk 2077. It's almost like the more you talk about something, the less anyone can possibly understand it. Well, on that note, let's get started with story number 1, in which I'll talking about Cyberpunk 2077. Or at least that's what I would say if this were a regular Action Button review. Oh no! In this case, the choice is up to you. Choose wisely, because you're never allowed to come back and watch the rest. I mean it. Never come back here after you watch 2 of these. Never.
Oh my god. Like 95% of the commenters on this thing are going to tell me they watched the whole thing and then say like, what are you gonna do about it? And it is gonna get so cheesy, so fast. I wouldn't get worse comments on this video if I paid people to try to leave the worst comment they could. Oh, hello! I'm Tim Rogers, the real person, not this histrionic cartoon character you've somehow tricked yourself into enjoying. Actually, no, I don't. Okay, it's not the real. I do have a real person inside me, and I do plan on showing you that real person at some point in the future. I don't want you to think that the real person who is me is not talks like that. I don't actually talk like that. Let's just like roll with it for a little bit here. Oh, hello. I'm Tim Rogers, the real person. Not that crayon sketch of a leather Muppet whose hyper-articulate vocabulary and exploits you have contortionalizingly convinced yourself to enjoy. No,
That man in the studio is a phony. This man here in my gorgeous living room is the real deal. See, that's not true either, because I have so meticulously arranged this living room, this shelf behind me to look really nice while blurred out. I put a whole bunch of video games on there. They were just all in a box on the floor. There was like groceries and trash and like soup cans and a big bulk box of trash bags back there until about literally like 15 minutes ago. It's just all over here. I threw all our dirty laundry on the floor to dampen the sound because I don't know what I'm doing acoustically. As you can see, yeah, this is basically what you're dealing with here. Just roll with it though. Pretend that this is normal. Oh, hello. I'm Tim Rogers, the real person. I'd like to thank you once again for watching Action Button Reviews Cyberpunk 2077. I hope you don't mind if I sit right here in my living room and watch it alongside you. Time flies real fast in this world. Can you believe it's been 10 months since Cyberpunk 2077 came out, and 7 months since I wrote the script of the review you're about to see? I'm sitting right here at 10:52 a.m. on Sunday, October 10th, 2021, and I really wish that I had uploaded the video today. I really wanted to upload the video on October 10th, 2021, 10:10. Wanted to premiere it at 10 a.m. Instead, I'm having a technical difficulty that we don't really need to get into. The technical difficulty is not any kind of metaphor for Cyberpunk 2077 at all. It's just a technical difficulty that I know how to deal with. It's just going to be obnoxious, and I'm going to have to sit here and babysit my computer for another 36, 48 hours or so. I'll be fine. The computer will be fine. If you're seeing this video now, that means that I did get through it. The video did end up getting exported. And it's all here in one presentation for you to pick and choose whichever parts you want to watch. And I really did mean that when I came up with the idea for this review, I really did think I'm gonna write 7 distinctly different things, and I'm gonna tell the viewer to pick just 2 of them to watch, because that's sort of the way that you would play a game like Cyberpunk 2077. You would pick which ones of the side quests lines you wanted to play, and then you would play them, and then you would go to the ending. I just thought that was a really novel idea. And I see you watching this video right now, and I see you just thinking you're just gonna let it roll straight into part 1, and then let part 1 roll into part 2, and then roll into part 3, and you're just gonna try to do it that way. And I know you're then gonna tell me in the comments that you did that. You just watched the whole thing in one sitting, haha, you know, come and get me or whatever. You're gonna, and if you're gonna do that, you might as well also just like tell me that you watched this whole video in one sitting while eating bacon. See what I did there? That's basically what you might as well do if you're gonna do that. And if you do that, you will be banned from commenting on any of my YouTube videos for the rest of history. Please don't do that. I don't mind if you watch every segment of this video, though I really do want you to choose 2 to watch. Choose the one you wanna watch second most, and then watch it. Then choose the one you wanna watch the most, watch that, and then watch the ending. Alternatively, if you are strapped for time, just skip to the final segment right now, if you would like, if you just want to watch the end. If you just want a 1-hour review of Cyberpunk 2077, that's part 7. Every single segment functions as a rewriting and revisioning of every other segment. Some of them lean more heavily on certain elements than others, though by and large, they all constitute pretty much the same thing. I think it would be cool if you watch it that way. Otherwise, if you just watch the whole thing in a row, it's gonna feel very repetitious. That's not how I intend you to watch it. This isn't a joke. I'm not making some elaborate prank here by telling you to watch it this way. I really think that that's how you should watch it. I think it comes across as a joke here in this intro. It seems like I'm messing with you when I tell you to watch it that way. I really mean it. I really think that that's how you should watch it. I like this new Coke Zero. I'm extending this whole interlude here because I want you to actually seriously consider just picking a segment and watching it instead of just letting me finish. Who knows how long I'm gonna sit here and keep talking. I want you to pick a segment and watch it. Next time, once you've experienced the full arc, you can go back and completionalize it. You can watch the rest later. I just think your first viewing, you should do it this way. Anyway, I'm recording these notes, call them director commentaries. After each one of these segments, I've prepared a little miniature director commentary segment that I recorded sitting right here or over there after watching each segment of the video during my final checks phase. At the end of the video production process, I watch each segment of the video exactly once before exporting it. And all I allow myself to do during that final checks phase is fix elements that are wrong. Like if the background music is for some reason 15 decibels up and just blasting out over my narration, clearly that's wrong, right? Or if a clip cuts out 10 frames too early and you see me sitting in the studio like this against a black background because the green screen is keyed out, obviously I would, stretch the clip a little bit. There are things I do during this final checks phase. I do not allow myself to add anything. I will not Photoshop a new title to put on there. I don't even let myself choose a new clip. I'll be like, while I was editing part 7, I became quite fond of this one clip. Maybe I could put that clip in here instead of the clip I chose, which is a little limp in comparison. Don't let myself do that either. What I've decided to do, since there was an egregiously extended development time on this video, I said development, felt like developing more than it felt like producing or writing or editing. Since there was such an egregious extension on this video production related to illness and the various logistical nefariousnesses. Do you hear these cops out here? NYPD's going wild today. It's some sort of... Some days the pigs barbecue themselves. I don't know what they're doing out there. Testing some new siren technology. I don't care, I'm leaving it in. Makes it feel like we're in an open world game. I sit here and I hear this out the window all day and it sounds like I'm in a Grand Theft Auto game. And I'm like, God, how lame is that? That's how I feel. Anyway, what I allowed myself to do, opinions being ever-evolving creatures as they are, I allowed myself to take notes on my final checks, and then I prepared myself to deliver a little speech hot off of the watching of each one of these segments. A little sort of a buffer for you to skip at any time you so choose to move on to the next video. All of what you hear in this video, excepting the introduction and the outroduction, everything you hear in this video was written in the months of March and April of 2021. While I was quite ill, I wrote most of this, and the editing process took so long that, of course, my opinion blossomed into a million different little shrapnel fragment shapes. So the temptation to now at this final stage amend the words I typed and then delivered, that temptation looms enormous. That's why I recorded these little interludes for you. We're just hanging out. Anyway, I hope you've made your selection of what segment to go to. You should have made it already, and you should have cut me off already. If only you were watching this on some sort of Blu-ray disc, and then you could actually access a menu to choose your chapter. That'd be pretty cool. Well, thanks for being weird enough to watch this entire interlude. I'll see you soon, by which I mean in a matter of seconds.
Oh, hello. Action Button Season 2, Tim Rogers reporting here with an important Day 1 patch. Yes, I realize I am walking through Central Park dressed in a meticulously, ridiculously, historically accurate Indiana Jones outfit. For the moment, let's ignore that. We have more pressing matters to discuss. I was supposed to be on a 2-week break starting today when 2 ill omens slapped me in the face from opposite directions at the exact same time. On the precipice of checking myself into the scenic Brooklyn Head and Neck Surgery Center Resort, the insurance company to whom I pay somewhere in the ballpark of $1,400 monthly, decided to phone ahead with the information that, no, the doctor shouldn't take my insurance plan. To make matters worse, mere minutes later, a secret cabal of influential YouTubers contacted me via the dark web to inform me through shadowed avenues that there ain't no way in heck Action Button Reviews Cyberpunk 2077 is going to make it onto YouTube alive in its intended format. They're making me cut it in two, Jerry. It is currently 5 p.m. on Thursday, October 21st, 2021. I've decided to go ahead and call it. So it is with the heavy heart of a professional magician. I'm slashing prices on this thing. This, of course, compromises one of my core values, that I always upload these videos as one big piece of themselves. I'll admit it's a little humiliating to have to divide this thing up. I promised myself I would never utter such mainstream YouTube phrases as others. However, if you look in the description, you will find a link. Make your decisions accordingly. At any rate, I'm hurrying back to the office right this minute in a perfectly straight line, going directly beelining toward my office, not taking any detours whatsoever, so that I can begin the process of exporting this video in segments. At any rate, let this be a lesson, I suppose. I'll say it again later in this video, numerous times. There will never be another one this long. If you don't believe me about that right now, hopefully you'll believe me about that in a little bit. Thanks for watching. I mean it. I mean really, thanks for watching. Anyway, enjoy the video. Well, that's, the ending part there kind of, what do you call it? Kind of made it, that's the YouTube ending part. I'm sorry. I like how I said during that intermission that I wrote all those notes during the final checks phase so that I could then, have something to say in the intermission, and that during the final checks phase I only fix things that are objectively wrong. I saw a whole bunch of single loose frames in there that were definitely not intended, that I didn't see because the video is exported at 59.94 FPS, which means you lose 0.6 frames per second, which means you lose, or 0.06 frames every second. And that means 60 frames every 10 seconds is 1 second every second. You end up losing a frame, or it's one frame. I don't know. You end up losing a frame every X number of seconds. And if I cut a clip too close to a cut, you end up with a couple of those loose blips, those splices, which are absolutely not intentional. They are not visible in the timeline. They are only visible on the export. So part of the grotesque exportation process was sitting here and catching the loose frames and going back and patching in the correct clip. And I guess I missed like 12 or 13 of them. And I'm just real sad about that right now. Something for the director's cut, I guess. I've already received a few angry messages about how expensive my computer is. I do a lot of work on this thing. Man, I'm working on this thing 18 hours a day. The $3,000 computer was just absolutely not cutting it. I mean, it was a necessary expense. Got a couple weird, hateful Twitter DMs about it, which is just it's you know, a bit of a quick response. You'll hear more about my PC later. Anyway, here's what I was thinking. We got mods in the chat. Are there mods in there? So the videos are not live on YouTube yet. I mean, they're there. They're just not public. Let me see. You can see. Can you all see this playlist here? This is it. Deleted video. What the heck? Hold on. Ah, there it is. Okay. We got them all up here. Tasty and tantalizing. So what I ended up having to do was cutting it in two didn't quite work. So you hear my guy in the day one patch. That guy. You hear him. The guy, him, in the day one patch saying, I got to cut it in two. I ended up having to cut it into 8. Because I cut it in two, found a couple grievous things I wanted to fix, fixed them, and then I just couldn't take the processing. These individual segments processed in about a minute each. So, I mean, they just processed like instantaneously, whereas the full thing took... YouTube's rules on their website, on their little wiki guide, it says you can upload a video that's up to 12 hours long, a video that is 4K, 60 FPS, and up to 256 gigabytes. My video was 10 hours long, 220 gigabytes, 4K, 60 FPS. Recommended bitrate, they said, was between 53 and 80 or something, 53 and 70. I set it at 50, so somewhat low bitrate, and it just wouldn't process no matter what I did. So, I mean, I can't say that part is anybody's fault or not. So here's what I want to do. We got everybody in the chat. Who's in the chat? So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to give you all two things. There's two things. Someone wants to know which chapters are the least spoiler heavy. Well, 1 and 2 don't have any spoilers at all because they're about the world of the world that birthed the game. Story 6 doesn't really have any spoilers for Cyberpunk 2077. There's spoilers for a couple other things like life in there. Story number 7 does have some spoilers, though I think they are somewhat... Well, no, story number 7 is a mandatory story. So, in case it's not clear, you watch 2 of stories 1 through 6, and then you watch story 7. Story 7 is the given story. Does that make sense? Did people not get that from the video? Someone asked if I saw Dune. Of course I didn't see Dune. I haven't been outside in like over a month. So you choose 1, 2, you choose 3 stories. So here's what I want to do. If everyone is amenable to this, here's my concept. Okay? Here's my concept. We can watch this video live. We can pick as a group 2 segments to watch live, and we can do it right now. I'm not even kidding. We can do it right now. Or we can not pick 2 segments. So do we have some mods in the chat who can run a vote on that? Can we get a show of hands? Mods, can a mod run a poll? Can a mod run a poll? Oh my god, it's actually... Do we have any mods in here? Do I got mods? Are there no mods in here? Hold on a second. I thought I had like 800 mods. I thought I made like 1 billion mods. Can somebody run a poll? How do we run a poll? I've never run a poll. I don't do this sort of poll. I'm not a streamer. Oh, okay, here we go. No. You're not supposed to pick 2 stories yet. We're trying to decide if we're going to watch it together or if we are going to just publish the video. That's what we're trying to do here, in case that's not clear. I mean, it's good to have these numbers here, though. Wow, how did story number 1 and 4 won that first poll? That's weird. 702 votes. Wait, how many people are watching this? What, 6,000 people are watching this? That's ridiculous. I do plan to stream a little bit more in the future after this. That's part of my whole Action Button Season 2 thing. I saw some people hating on the new Coke Zero in that chat. New Coke Zero is okay. Okay, so how about this? How about this? Here's the third opportunity. I will publish all the videos except part 7. And then the longest it could possibly take you to watch 2 chapters is 3 hours and 30-some minutes. Let me get the exact number. Hold on. 1 hour and 35 or 3 hours and 35 minutes is the longest it'll take you to watch 2 chapters. It's a long time. Because one of the chapters is disproportionately longer than all the others. And one of the chapters is disproportionately shorter than all of the others. I did this on purpose. Whether that means anything or not. So there's like there's a speed run route and there's a slow run route. You can see the lengths in the timestamps. So what do we got? You won't watch chapter 1? I just can't believe there's all those loose frames in there. There will be a director's cut. I'm putting it on. I think I'm going to put it on Vimeo. They told me if I pay $900, I can have a yearly subscription to Vimeo, and then I can, the watch together or okay. So the vast majority of people want to publish the video. You're just breaking my heart here. So here's what we're gonna do. So the way I've got it. Oh, no, I got signed out of my YouTube. Well, hold on. I'm going to put us into the standby for a minute. I'm going to use the restroom. And when I come back, we will have the ceremonial publicationing of the video when I come back. I'll be back in about 30, 40 minutes. That's a joke. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Just hang on. Good thing my microphone's off now. That's a joke. I know it's not off. Hello, I'm back. How's everybody doing? Do you like how I'm wearing the same outfit here as I was in the intermission segment? Makes it look like the live stream. I did that on purpose so it looked like the live stream led right into this, to the pre-recorded intermission. So I saw some people in the chat saying you want to do both. You want to publish and watch. Okay, so here we go. Can we run another poll? Mods, run another poll. So we're going to run a poll and we're going to pick which two to watch. Mods, I'm going to veto number 5. I think number 5 is not the right one to watch together. That's all I'm saying. So can we run a poll that's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Let's do it. I can tell you what they are again. Number 1 is the discourse. Number 2 is the graphics. Number 3 is the positive review. Number 4 is the negative review. Number 6 is the one about Cyberpunk. No, I need. Yeah. We're looking at a poll. We need the poll. Okay, it's looking like 1 and 6. Oh, 4 is creeping up. 4 is creeping up. 1 and 6. This is my dog. Poll is it's creeping up on 1 and 4 is 4 and 6 now. People want that negative review, huh? Nobody wants the segment about the stuff I liked. That's so weird. People only want the negativity. That's just shameful. I think they're all pretty good, to be honest. I think all of them are pretty good. Okay, so 6, 1, and what? 4 and 1 are tied? How are they tied? All right, let's do it one more time with just 4 and 1. Can we do one more poll? I didn't vote, by the way, so. But yes, I will also publish the video. Don't skip around in it, though. Just put it on and watch it. Have a good time. Don't skip around. I'm real upset about those loose frames I saw. It seemed universally to come from the footage that was 29 FPS or 24 FPS. Very upset about that. Absolutely invisible in the timeline. Doesn't show until it's exported. Okay, we're seeing the poll again. Oh, 1 is leading. Is it because I said 1 is pretty good? I'll put this bad boy down. I have played McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure. I'm not going to play it right now. Why would I play it now? I don't even know how I look on this webcam setup. So wait, 4-1 one time and then I don't even know what I look like. I look like a creep. Oh well. So wait, what are we dealing with? 4-1 and now wait, I didn't see the results of the poll. I didn't see the results. What the heck? Where did the results are just gone? Six, then 1? No, I think we should do them in a chronological order. 1, then 6. I said choose the one you want to watch second most and then the one you want to watch the most. And 6 had more votes than either. 6 had more votes the first time, so that makes it the one. All right, let's see. I will also publish the video. I'll publish it on YouTube. So here's what I'm going to do. Hang on a second. Let's go on over to YouTube. And wait, hold on. I have to log into my YouTube account. We're going to do I have to log into my YouTube account. So I'm not done with my password and stuff on the screen. Just hang on a second. We're gonna go back to the toilet menu. I typed my password. All right, I'm back. Hang on just a second. Wait, what? Hold on. It's telling me story number 6 is not processed. It was processed. I don't know why it's telling me it's not. Hang on a second. It's suddenly it was processed yesterday, and now it's saying SD processing completed. I don't understand. Hold on. This is a nightmare, Jerry. I'm being forced to watch an advertisement and another advertisement. It looks like it's processed to me. Wait, no, it doesn't. What the heck? It's buffering a lot. I don't know what happened. It was finished. This is bad news, Jerry. All right, I'm almost done with the secret business. Publishing the video is not that easy when it's in 8 pieces. Making sure the playlist is proper. Making sure the playlist is proper. Okay, I think they're all good. Looks like everything's chill. We are going to... I'm going to make the final part private. Just for now. We're going to make the final part private. And I'm going to... This is the correct one. Can't see so good. And that should be it. If you go to youtube.com/actionbutton, you should see that piece we just watched nice and safely up there. So if you want to access the playlist version of the video, if you want to see the playlist, you're going to need to like just speed to the end of that video, and then you will see the playlist. The playlist is on the end screen, and it is accessible on all your living room TV apps. It should work just fine. You can I tested it on my Apple TV and my PlayStation. You just press a button, and you can get up there and access the playlist. Once you access the playlist, it's going to kick you back to the beginning of the first video, which is it's going to kick you back to the beginning of the intro segment, at which point you just scroll down into the playlist and pick So take a look. Let's see. Someone clicked a link. Oh, people are popping links in the chat. Don't pop a link in the chat. Make people. I'm gonna stop looking at my Twitter real quick. You should never look at your Twitter. Never look at a Twitter. Okay, so. I'm gonna take a look back at the YouTube. I'm gonna look at my my channel. Let's take a look. There's that. Well, it is right there. Look at that. How beautiful is that? You can see that. There's all my thumbnails. That's got 755 views already. Crikey. So you get to the end and you can see. Oh, it's an advertisement. Oh, that's good. Day one patch. I might have to day one patch fix this opening video. And there it is. See that? You have a link to the playlist. Perfect. Yeah, at this point, if you're not seeing it on YouTube yet, are you watching YouTube through like an app? If you're on like an app, maybe you have to restart the app. You might have to restart the device that has the app, because the apps can be a little weird with YouTube. Yeah, the playlist is also in the description. Begrudgingly. Oh, wait. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it's not in the playlist. It's not in the description. Put it in. It was in the description a minute ago. Anyway. That's it. That's the whole thing. You will notice that story 7, let's get into the playlist real quick. So yeah. Oh, I can see story number 7, which is the bottom line. You all can't. We will. We will post story 7. I'll put it up in 3 hours. 3 hours, Jerry. They're unlisted for fun. That's why. They're unlisted for fun. Well, I suppose I could start up another one. Let's take a look at what we have here. Hold on. Oh, crikey. I need to pull story number 1 down off of my server. This is going to take a moment. Story number 1 is the one I do not have located off of my server right now. I didn't expect people would want to watch that one, though I'm curious nonetheless. I mean, you all could just open it up. We could just watch it in YouTube right now. I want to watch it through my final export, though. I need a bigger server. My computer's just about out of space. Just about completely out of space. Might have been the wrong one. I can't see so good. I'm sorry. Pretending like I can. Okay, there it is. It's going to take a minute to download. Glasses, maybe, says someone. No, don't be a jerk. The glasses don't help, okay? We've been over this before. Don't make fun of me. How do you find the video? You go to youtube.com/actionbutton. People are saying the video has disappeared for them. Hey, man. I'm going to go ahead and open an incognito tab. Go to youtube.com/actionbutton. We're going to see if it's there. Who would have known? Oh, man, it disappeared on here. Hang on. I don't know why that is. It should be public. It says public right here. The save button is grayed out, meaning that the changes have been saved. Not sure what's happening. I did test all of this, I will admit. Why is it gone? Server propagation, huh? I guess that's kind of unfortunate that I was able to see it a minute ago and now I can't. I just want to go to bed. I feel real bad about those loose frames. I don't understand how that happened. I mean, I do. I sat there and I hunted them down, man. For like a week, I was hunting them down. Oh, so if you go on videos, well, it should be on my home screen, man. Yeah, there it is. It's on videos. Let's see what the comments are. Whole lot of comments on here. Wow, that's a lot. Never clicked on a video so fast. If only YouTube would allow me to upload a new version that possesses the correct lack of all those loose frames. I just hate myself about those loose frames. I cannot believe that they're in there. There must have been like 14 of them. Anybody has the capacity on their computer to accept the entire 26 terabyte project wants to go through and snipe out those loose frames, give me a call. Any aspiring video editors with tons and tons of either free time or expertise who would like to accept a hefty sum. I talk all the time about how I don't care about views, how many views I get. Ditching all the views on this video just to fix those loose frames would be the ultimate proof that I don't actually care. As you can see, this green progress bar, you see this progress bar? That's the video coming down off my server. I rotated my Coke too much and now it's hard to drink. Okay, well, we've got part one. So who's all, don't worry about the loose frames. Look, I'm going to get 100 emails about the loose frames. How much of those 26 terabytes are render files? I rendered ProRes LT previews for basically everything, so a large amount of that is, in fact, render files, but not the most of it. I'm glad someone got the Yoko Ono reference. That's good. I'll say no more about that. Not going to get 10,000 messages saying that you don't see the loose frames. I'm going to get ones from people who do. Is the playlist not showing up at the end of the video? Is that what people are saying? I tried to do something semi-experimental here that is in fact supported by all the tools. All of the tools existing support this. It's just it's one of those we didn't expect anybody to do this things, I guess. Look, okay, so this is an incognito window for me. It's showing up on this incognito window. So,
Please click on this. Do you like how I say please click on this? People can send me nice emails if they want. Oh, the playlist isn't in the description just yet. I can put it in there. Hang on. Let's see the. God. There we go. Here's the playlist. Let's go back in here. Okay, the playlist is in the description. The question is, will YouTube let you click that? Oh, it does. Okay, it's a clickable link in the description. My eyeballs hurt. Do I like Kirby? Kirby's okay. Not too close to the screen. This is as close as I have to be in order to see. Okay, so how many people do want to put on a segment and watch together? Because I can do that. I can do that real quick. Hang on, not that one. Where is it? Hang on a second. Oh, where did I put it? Hang on, the file is not showing up. I don't understand where it went. Shoot me in the neck with a bow and arrow, Jerry. This is just such a mess. This project is just such a mess right now. It all goes together real well. And then you get toward like the last half of the project and it's just flat out Goblin style. I honestly do not understand where the file went. I copied a file and I don't see it. I copied a file into this folder and it's just not here. Windows is Windows is jacking with me. I don't know what they're doing. Crikey. Let's try the old Windows search bar, which has worked like I think 0 times in my entire life. It's worked exactly 0 times in my entire life. No. You ask Windows to find you something and it's just like, oh, okay. I'm sorry. I can't help you. I'm sorry, man. If you watch more of this video, you'll see that I mean, I don't need to go to bed tonight. I mean, I'm not that tired. So I'm having a little trouble here. How about this for a poll? What if we premiered part 2? Sorry, I kept clicking the wrong thing because I can't see so good.
Um, I just do not know where this file is. I don't understand where it could possibly be. It just copied. It took like 10 minutes to copy. I'm so confused about this right now. I've never been this confused about something so mundane in my life. I just don't understand where I put it. There's a folder that I've been saving these things into and out of like all day. There's some spoilers in there. I don't want people to see. There's spoilers in this video, is what I'm saying. If you all want to watch the YouTube version together, why don't you do that? Just everybody put on chapter 1. Let's do it. Put on chapter 1. Get to the end of the ads, and then we'll all just press play at the same time. Get the playhead all the way back to 0. I mean, this way I get more views, so that actually works out for me. Here's the link in case anybody wants it. I'm not taking a vacation. I just want to clear that up. I said I was taking a break. That's not a vacation. It's not the same thing. Trust me, what I'm going to be doing is not a vacation. I don't care where you're from. Okay, so is everybody on the page? You ready? Everybody's on the page? You ready? Ready? Because we're going to click the play button. You forwarded through all the ads, right? Ready? There it is. Very good. I shouldn't be talking through this, though. Okay, hold on. Pause it. Just pause it. Everybody pause and restart the video. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop talking. And I'm going to mute my microphone. And I will let this play. Everybody feel free to mute this Twitch stream while you watch the video on your own web browser. This is the sort of thing I had to do many times while playing Cyberpunk 2077. So, video is right here. Oh, crack. Crack. So, yeah, somebody post the link to the video. There's the link. Everybody get in there. Everybody get in there. Let's see if I can add this. No, it's not letting me add Chrome as a window. No, you didn't choose the longest. You chose 2 of the longest. Is everybody ready? No, don't rewatch part 0. Just watch part 1 is the one everybody said they were going to watch. Parts 2 through 7 aren't showing up for you. That's not right. This is humiliating. They should all be showing up. They should all be showing up. You should be seeing all of them. I mean, they're showing up for me over here. Is this stream going to be taken down? I mean, I don't see why not. They're all up? Okay. 7's not up. I mean, story number 7, which is video number 8. So, I could premiere. Yeah, 7, by 7, you mean story number 7. Yeah, that one's not up yet. I did not set that one to public yet. I don't want anybody to skip to story number 7 and just watch that one. I'll set it to live at midnight. Does that make sense? The bottom line will be available at midnight. I'm gonna have several nightmares tonight about the loose frames. You know what? Actually, I think I'm just gonna let you all go. Because technology's just not working the way I want it to. And I think you all should just have a good time watching the videos on YouTube. Why don't y'all get in the Action Button Discord? And maybe you can start up a chat. Is anybody in the Action Button Discord? Can you start up a chat for talking? There's a room in the Action Button Discord, discord.gg/actionbutton, called Cyberbunker. Why don't you all go in there? And looks like people are already doing this. Just go in there and dominate that chat with talk of... work it out. See if you can get a sort of a chat room going on, focused on this live watch of these videos, and I will sit in there and enjoy alongside you. I would love to see people's live chat reactions to chapters 1 and 2, or chapters 1 and 6. Dan DeSalt. I see Dan DeSalt in there. He's asking, is it only episode 0 on there? It's not, I mean, episode 0 is the only one that is on the front page. It has an access to the playlist. It's a little, what do you call it, attention span test. Can people watch the first part long enough to know that there's input required from them? Not to spoil it. I don't know if Dan DeSalt is listening to the stream. I just saw him in the... I was talking to somebody in the Discord as though they were watching the stream. You can watch them on your Switch OLED, man. I don't know. I'm going to let y'all go. I want to see some... maybe some mods in the chat. Are there mods in this chat? Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to check out this... I'm asking the mods if we can get a live watch reaction channel. Okay, so we're getting a live watch reaction channel. Oni Spumoni is working on getting us a live watch reaction channel in the Discord. Could just use this Twitch chat, though the Discord is easier for me to look at it. The Discord is discord.gg/actionbutton, I believe. Does that Discord link still work? Does that still work? I don't know if it works. Someone's telling me to not take the haters seriously. There's a... Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't really take most of them seriously. The ones who aren't paying attention and don't want to are usually easy to not take seriously. Though some of them are generally kind of scary. So... Do you like this this angle of the back of my head while like this is like my work cam? I thought I would shoot some like work streams. Cyberbunker Live. Okay, does everybody see it? There's a room called Cyberbunker Live. Okay, so everybody coordinate pressing start on the video. Okay, hold on. Okay. So, is everybody listening? Okay, hold on. I just want to hang on a second. Is everybody in this Discord channel listening to this stream? Is everybody in this, can we get confirmation? Yes, yes, okay. Does everybody have, this is, okay, that's a little too much. A little bit too much now. I get it. That's more than enough people for my little tiny focus test here. You can stop saying yes. That's a lot of people. How many people are in here? Crikey. That's a lot. 972? Lord. Okay. So, everybody be calm for a moment. Everybody be calm. Stop posting for about 10 seconds. Stop posting. I see several people are typing. I need to see several people are typing, and I'm going to count to 5. When I see the several people are typing, go away. I still see several people are typing. I need everybody to stop. If you're typing, go ahead and just send your message, and then we all stop. Okay. So now that we are not typing, okay, that's real funny. I see somebody else typing. I said no typing. You will buy Truck Heck. Oh, I bet you will. In fact, you'll buy Truck Heck maybe pretty soon. I say stop typing. I said stop typing. Anyway, we're just going to go ahead and say, everybody, if you're in the chat and you're ready and you've let the ads transpire and you're ready to begin the video, I will. Do you want me to do a countdown to tell you when to press the button to start the video? Of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is everybody ready? Can I get a confirmation that everybody is ready to start the video? Can we see it? Countdown. Ready? 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 I need to see about 100 readies. Okay. This is so much better than the Twitch chat. Okay. Anyway. Here we go. I'm going to count down from 10. And on after 1, I will say 1 and then go. On go. Click it. You ready? Here we go. 10. 9. 8. 7. Oh, you can see the YouTube playlist on your TV if you start up video number 1 and then scroll all the way to the end of it. Nanode. That's the way to see it on your TV. I tested this on multiple accounts in incognito modes. We're waiting for Nanode now to... Or, I mean, some people have linked just the hot link to the video. I can link you to the hot link to the video. Hold on. This is the hot link. Here's the hot link. There you go. Here we go. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And as this intro begins, I will go ahead and I'm going to mute my microphone and I'm going to go. And maybe I'll be back in a couple hours. Goodbye.